Good evening, beautiful people. This is Miro Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me tonight again. Thank you so much for always subscribing, for sharing, for commenting, for your engagement. I am truly super grateful. If you're just joining us for the very first time, this is Miro Podcast. And what we do here, we simply have honest conversations with ourselves. It's very easy for us to have honest conversations with other persons, but when it means that we have to sit down with ourselves to truly face ourselves, and tell ourselves the truth and have introspections and interrogate every of the things that we do daily, we find it difficult. So here in Miro Podcast, that is exactly what we do. Alright, it's episode 11 of Miro Podcast, and this particular topic is so dear to my heart, and it's something that has been like a journey. It's a topic that has been more like a journey for me in this journey and experience of growth, since I've been conscious about my growth process and personal development journey, and that is inner work. Honestly, when I started on this journey of inner work for me, I didn't particularly really tell me whether it was important. At the journey of my growth was where I got to an halt, and I realized that there is something missing here. Something is really missing, right? I love learning. I love books. I'm intentional about exposure, about new experiences, about exploring, listen to podcasts, watch different episodes, listen to great people. There's a lot of accumulation because I love the excitement of growth, right? So because of the, excitement of growth, I have accumulated a lot, learned this, learned that, the ones that are important, the ones that are not important. And then I got to a point where I'm being redirected. I didn't quite know that was it. It showed up like, confusion. It showed up like my heart and mind being crowded. I'm supposed to be feeling excited about growth, but it got to a point whereby I'm not feeling that excitement anymore. Something feels hard somewhere, and then I began to interrogate myself. So before I pick a new book, before I listen to a new podcast, before I listen to someone new or a particular mentor, I just sit with myself. What's really going on? I used to be very excited about reading books, exploring. I had to just sit with myself, and I understood something immediately, that I cannot outread unresolved patterns. I cannot outstudy internal disconnection, and I cannot outlearn unprocessed emotion. So there were a lot of things I needed to deal with from inside of me. In fact, when I sat down to say I wanted to do inner work, it was a big deal. It was kind of difficult, but I told myself, if I didn't do this, I cannot move further. It was difficult to have certain conversations, to begin to do a lot of tracing back, and trying to just forgive myself for the identity I didn't choose, trying to forgive myself for the personality that I did not choose, that they were not mine, things that I did not consciously accept, identity that I did not consciously just accept, and I found myself doing all of these things. I realized that there was a lot of work for me to do. Inner work is so difficult. This is not to scare you, but just to let you know that the earlier the better. Let's talk about when growth starts to feel heavy. Honestly, you wouldn't have this particular feeling if you were not intentional about growth. If you're not conscious about building up yourself, exploring life, being intentional about your mindsets, being intentional about studying voraciously, you most likely may not understand this phase, because this phase is where you are already getting to a point whereby you are already stretched, you're already getting to a peak. I know that you can't plateau in growth, and growth continues, but there will be something that you will have to strike, in your journey of growth, due to the education, due to the self-learning, due to the self-help and resources that you are accumulating, and just changing your life. When you get to this point, most likely, if you've not worked on your inner mind, inner life, you will be redirected. Not many people come to this phase probably because of their upbringing, because of where they are coming from, how they were being brought up. They have balanced that growth. As they were building their outward life, they were also building their inner life. So this is synchronicity. Now let me give you an example. You were being applauded at work, you were being praised for certain things, and then you get on, you don't feel like, oh, you can't embrace that joy. You're not excited about what you're saying, because there is no matrimony between who you are inside and the person that you're becoming outside. Honestly, this particular topic is so serious as more than you think, because there was a moment growth used to feel light, growth used to feel exciting, growth used to feel, and you used to feel enthusiastic about growth. Most especially if you have a good discipline, you build yourself enough to discipline yourself to read certain number of books, listen to certain number of podcasts, be intentional about your mindset, your belief system, and all of that. You began to work on all those things, read, there's this excitement around the journey of your becoming. Eventually, you begin to feel this heaviness from within, this cloudiness, this emotional exhaustion. You're just tired. You can't connect. You don't know what it means. People are appreciating you. They're saying the good things that you're doing, but you yourself cannot connect with all of these things they're saying. You can't connect. There seems to be a gap, a wide gap between who you are inside and the person that you're becoming outside. Honestly, this is when growth feels heavy. The next thing is that inner work returns you back to yourself. You see, after all of those heaviness, at that moment or at those moments, you still felt like, what's going on? You're still trying to second guess what's going on. You don't have you don't have a full picture of what's going on within you, but you know that there is a lot of conflict happening inside of you. Inner work, what it does for you is to return you back to your inside. Whatever you have been doing currently, reading books, just hold on for a while and then begin to search, have interrogation with yourself, have some soliloquy to yourself, personal conversation. This is not the time to do deep work and start trying to get all manner of books, because there will be a kind of struggle. There's going to be more like a conflict. You can't have the peace of mind. You see? So you have to have that interrogation with yourself. Now, all of those subtle signs you used to see at the beginning will begin to now be loud. Before it was very slightly, you're just getting the signals, but this time around, it's going to be so loud. All of the fears, now you start to name it. People begin to question and telling you certain things. Oh, why do you do like this? They started to give you certain identity, and you're wondering where, how, who, when did you choose this? You're not looking like a stranger to yourself. Yes. So what inner work does for you is to just call you to awareness. It calls you to awareness to be aware of who you are from the inside. You begin to work on yourself. You begin to notice certain patterns, certain belief system that you did not choose at all. And now let us move on to the next one, which is that inner work helps you to review your foundation. Now let's take a look at a beautiful building with a very incorrect foundation. Sooner or later, that building is actually going to collapse. There is no way, because it's not about the aesthetics, it's about the foundation that is holding it. So no matter the kind of beautiful life you're building for yourself, if your inner mind, your inner soul, your inner core is not being worked upon, if there is no synchronicity, if you are not healed from certain belief system, if you do not review your patterns, review your identity, the personality, all of these things, it will catch up with you. Do you see? So inner work helps you to return back to your foundation. It helps you to review it, because certain belief systems were formed and were shaped by the background that we came from, by the family that we came from. Some of these identities that we have been familiar with, they are not what we chose consciously. They are not what we chose consciously. Majority of the time, some of these things are not even negative things. They are just belief system, mindset, because of unbringing. And you have to what? Unlearn, because the books you're reading, the new information that you're getting, all of those things that you're reading, it's not, it can't be mixed together. There has to be an unlearning. Correct unlearning has to be done. So beside the fact that inner works helps you to review your foundation, the next thing is that it helps you to be emotionally honest with yourself. Not just that, and also have conversation and interrogation with yourself. I understand that all of the time you feel so comfortable, so easy, so so excited to always have conversations with people. Have we ever thought about having conversation and having interrogation with our own self? I mean, it looks so difficult that you have to sit for hours, sit for days, sit for months, and then you have to emotionally ask yourself some deep questions to trace your background, instead of you shrugging down some of those things down your throat, or just keeping quiet as though they never exist. Now it's time for you to be truth and honest with yourself. Why is this pattern showing up once again? Why do I have this fear constantly linger over and over again? Why am I being placed with this particular identity? Why am I acting this way? Why am I triggered this way? See, it only takes someone who respects his or her life and journey to becoming for you to be able to take all of this conversation, because it's easy to ask other people this one, but the moment where you get to be the one to ask yourself, it looks like a lot of work. But the earlier the better. The moment you start working on asking yourself all of these questions, now you may not rightly get the answers immediately, but that's the place of awareness, and that's the beginning. It's better than those who have never started their inner work at all, because inner work interrogation is very, very important.